I simply just covered the fact that we did consolidate our many urban renewal programs into two now, a large and a small. And this is indeed an application for a large grant. The building in question, I think I included a couple pictures so you might recognize it. Here it is. So it's easy to drive past because it hasn't been really used for any commercial purposes other than storage in any time in the recent past. But the proposal that's being made is to add a storefront and turn the building into a viable commercial space. Let's see here. This project does meet some of our acknowledged urban renewal goals, some of which I've listed out here. Does it have potential to grow the taxable and assessed values in the district? I believe it does, since we're taking a sort of a dormant building and bringing it into activity. The tax assessed value will certainly go up. It will make for a more walkable downtown and start to activate Zobrist. So that's kind of one of our more peripheral goals, as well as to try and activate not just Broadway Street, but also the whole downtown. It will visually enhance the area. It won't add any residences. It won't do anything for upper stories, but it will fill a vacancy and will attract new businesses. I don't know about businesses that are open after 5 p.m. The proposed tenant here is actually our current tenant, Clackamas River Outfitters. So they would be moving into this building, leaving the 401 main building with a vacancy. But we believe that assuming the bottom doesn't fall completely out of the economy, given the current situation, that vacancy should be readily fillable. There's not people beating down the door, but a short list of people who are actively looking for commercial space downtown. So all that to say, it does meet our goals in terms of urban renewal generally and the large grant program more specifically. The applicant is Howard Katz, and the only reason why I mentioned that is to say that we've partnered with Howard in the past. He owned and still owns the building that was Bear Creek Log Furniture, and which is now Crescendo Dance Studio. So he applied for a grant previously and was funded in order to completely rehabilitate the apartment in that building and then create the dance studio for Crescendo. And no project is perfect, but that went relatively smoothly. And so based on past experience, I would say he's a good and responsible owner and a good partner in terms of our grant programs. So attachment 1, which I'll fast forward to, covers the application. He's kind of written out why he wants to do this and a little bit about the tenant. But then the more interesting component, what did I do? Is the plans. So this is the site plan, and it's probably quite small on anyone's screen that's trying to follow along. But you see the outline of the building. They're proposing to add some pretty attractive, what I think will be attractive landscaping here, with a fence behind, and so that this area here can be used for storage and it will be screened from view. There's a driveway here, and then as you'll see on the elevation I'll show in a moment, a large garage door that will remain intact. Well, it will be updated, but the opening will remain. The power will be undergrounded, which is a requirement of the city code, as I think you're aware, anytime a project exceeds $25,000. So the service comes off of a pole that's in the alley, and that, as part of the project, is to go underground along with internet service. Water and sewer services are actually existing and they'll be reactivated. Here you see kind of a simple space plan. So they intend to add a new ADA compliant bathroom, an office space, and then, can I get rid of this? There we go. Here's where the garage door opening is. And so that will be opened up again. And they intend to install a garage door that has glass paneling. So it'll actually offer transparent views in and out and be kind of cool looking. A lot of places in Portland, for example, where they're taking old industrial buildings and converting them into bars and pubs and things like that are using those same type of glass garage doors. And they're a nice touch, I think. So you see lighting here, pretty basic as far as the interior goes. If you've been in Clackamas River Outfitters' current shop, it's got more of a rough industrial feel, but for a kayak and outdoor outfitter, it works just fine. The mural will remain, so that's not to be changed in any way. Originally, they had proposed on the front elevation to add like a siding material at the top, but that's since changed a little bit, and I'll show you the revised in a moment. But here you see a not floor to ceiling, but floor to 7 feet high window, same height as the door, which will be a transparent door, and then the transparent garage door. The rear of the building will basically be unchanged other than just paint. And let's see here. So the front facade, the new front facade is here. Zoom in a little if I can. It's basically the same of what you just saw. You see the window, the door, the glass garage door, the signage area is all the same. But instead of having this upper area be like a siding type material, it's just going to be stucco all the way. That was partially a cost saving measure, but also just because the applicant Howard didn't really care for the architect's idea, and so he just had him change it. So it'll have a little bit of a break in it with the line and the building height here to add a little variety, but other than that, it'll just be stucco. I'll go back to the application now. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. There are a couple of supporting bids, and I've attached those. The bids that he has, the low bid does not cover the full scope of work, but he's only going to apply with the scope of work that's listed on the bid. I'll get to the recommended funding amount in a moment, but it is plenty enough. Well, excuse me, the cost of the project as estimated on that bid is about $80,000, and the amount that we have available to grant him is not $40,000, and so he doesn't need to have that remaining portion of work bid out. That's just up to him to pay for and cover. I think I've covered the scope of the project, mentioned him as a partner, mentioned the goals of urban renewal. So then moving on to the final attachments. Let's see here. Sorry if I'm making anyone dizzy. The design of this project was subject to our design standards, and the design committee of the Downtown Commission did review the design and found that it met the standards with only just a couple of conditions. They needed to provide a parking plan before they can receive their building permits for both bicycle parking as well as vehicle parking. They have more than enough space behind the building to accommodate that, but we just need to have that as part of a plan set. Any sign permits will need to be permitted separately. This is kind of a nuance, but the signage, or excuse me, the signage needs to be illuminated by the lighting on the building, and It needs to be sufficiently bright to light the entrance of the building as well, which I believe it will have no problem doing, but our design standards say that the front entrance of the building has to be illuminated. So we're just making sure that it states that any illumination is going to be bright enough to illuminate that front entrance. As far as pedestrian amenities go, that landscaping does qualify, and the value of that is well over $500, which is what they required as far as pedestrian amenities. And their paint color will have to conform to the newly adopted paint palette. This is the scoring sheet that they used, supporting bids. And then as part of our grant application process as well, we require either a lease agreement or a letter of intent to lease. So what they've got here is a letter of intent to lease. Some of the terms are still very vague, but at least expresses that Clackamas River Outfitters intends to lease the building when it's all done, according to the plans that I just reviewed with you. So my recommendation on this is based on really just how much funding we have available. This year we budgeted, I think, pretty responsibly, and we did it in accordance with a financial planning document that we paid a consultant to help us with last fiscal year. And so where we're ending up as this fiscal year comes to a close is we have about $37,000 left in our grant program fund for urban renewals just for this budget year. And if we fund this at the recommended amount of $27,500, that would leave us with approximately $10,000, $9,760, which would be enough to fund one more small grant, which goes up to $10,000 before the end of this fiscal year. Part of the reason why I made that recommendation, beyond just being, I think, in good judgment, is that incidentally, the building next door, which is a small brick building, it's directly next door to the DHS building. It was used most recently illegally as kind of a car auto body repair place, which is not an allowed use downtown. They were unfortunately forced to close down, and so now it's been vacant. But Blue Sky Rafting has intentions of fixing up that building and moving into it, and said that they would request a small grant in order to do so. So by funding this current proposal at the recommended $27,500, we would have enough to go and fund the Blue Sky project as well before this fiscal year ends. So my recommendation is approval at that recommended amount. I don't have any other conditions because I believe at this time the conditions of the grant program as it's written in the grant documents are sufficient. No additional conditions are recommended. So with that, I'll hand it back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Matt. All right, wait till everybody comes up on the screen. Okay, you've all had a chance to listen to what is. And it's a good fit. I mean, I think it's something that would fit in our downtown core and add to the whole big picture. So are there any thoughts from anybody on this proposal before we're going to need a motion on this, am I right? Okay, so yes, Katie.
I will move to approve the grant in the amount of $27,000, what was it, 500?
Uh-huh.
1,500 or 50% of the project cost, whichever is less.
Okay, thank you. That's a first. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, first and second. Oh, yeah, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote on this one, if I might. Sadie?
I can do that. Who was the second? Was that you, Luke?
Justin.
Justin? Okay. Justin, Katie went Justin. All right, roll call vote will be.
Wait, before we roll call, did you want to say something, Luke?
No.
Oh, okay. I just saw your hand up. I wasn't sure. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, okay. Director Dunsmere.
Yes.
Director Gates.
Yes.
Director Hall.
Yes.
Director Weaver.
Yes.
Chair Drinkwine,
Yes.
and motion
Okay,
carried. Thank you.
thank you. So moving along, I think this is for Matt again. We have miscellaneous project updates. What have you got for us?
Yeah, so I just wanted to take the opportunity, since we don't meet as regularly as an urban renewal board as we do a city council, to just kind of bring you up to speed on a few other ongoing projects. I'm going to share my screen again, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, share. Okay. So this project is now wrapping up. This is the former Bank of the West building. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So they actually just received their final permit inspection today and got approval from the building department. So this project is officially wrapping up. He plans to secure a tenant hopefully soon. He plans to begin advertising now that it's done. He's also kind of wondering what's going to happen given the sort of economic uncertainty right now, but he does have a list of about 3 or 4 folks who have just contacted him proactively interested in leasing the space, and plans to hopefully secure one of them to move in before summertime. We've got a few pictures just to show you what it looks like on the inside. So there's inside looking out. I'm not sure why these pictures shake, but at any rate, there's still some miscellaneous debris there, but you can at least see he did kind of a faux hardwood floor, just neutral colored walls. And then on the ceiling, when they started taking it back in order to expose those transom windows, these windows here, the upper ones, were covered up before, you might recall.
Yeah.
When they took off the ceiling in order to get to those windows, they discovered that the original ceiling from when it was originally constructed, somewhere probably in the 20s or so, is this tin ceiling. And I don't know how good the resolution is coming through on your end, but it's a nice kind of cool historic touch. So it's got a nice feel in there now. It's about 600 square feet, and will be a nice little shop space for whoever ends up moving in.
All right.
That project also got roughly an approval of roughly up to $26,000. I don't believe that they have spent 2 times that, so our cost to us may be actually less, than anticipated. The main reason for that being is the original proposal was to add an ADA bathroom. When they went to secure final bids, other ADA improvements so that they wouldn't have to add the ADA bathroom. And so there was some cost savings there. Anyway, so that's 365. Hopefully new tenant coming soon. I feel like there was one other project I was gonna, oh, of course. At the Mossy Rock and Award Embroidery, Estacada Insurance Mart, and the apartment over on the corner there, the Broadway building. This is the project that we got a $200,000 grant for through the state of Oregon's Main Street program. It's been progressing slowly but surely. I believe they have new storefront glass in at Award and at Mossy Rock now. You may know better than I, because I haven't been to town in a couple of days. But most of the work that's been done so far that I don't have photographs to show you right now was being done in the shop space that is behind Mossy Rock and beside the Insurance Mart. So that's another about 600 or 700 square foot new retail space that's been created. The bathroom, which was previously in that space, is now close to Rock space and will be a shared bathroom between those two suites. And it's now ADA compliant, and there's a storage space created for Mossy Rock as well. So Mossy Rock used that rear space previously for hosting First Fridays, and then mainly otherwise for the bathroom and for storing inventory and receiving orders and whatnot. So the building owner wanted to make sure they still had space to do that. So there's a 13 by 7 storage room that was created, as well as that ADA bathroom, and then the retail space all behind Mossy Rock. So that's all been going on inside there, where you've seen a porta potty out on the curb. And now just this week, the steel has all been fabricated for the new work that will be done on the exterior. And so that work you should start to see very soon. I think they've taken down awnings and have started to prep for it, but now you'll actually start to see a lot more happening on the outside. There's only been one change order so far on that one, and unfortunately it was fairly significant. With these old buildings, when you start peeling back the layers of the onion, sometimes there are surprises inside that no one could have known. In the situation of this building, they were expecting to find wood construction on the 4th Avenue facade. When they peeled it back, they found it was this sort of clay brick, unreinforced clay brick, like basically hollow on the inside. So structurally, that's a game changer. And so in order to maintain the plans to open up the glass and create a real storefront there on 4th, some structural enhancements that needed to be done to the tune of about $15,000. Denise and I talked with the building owner, looked at the numbers. Initially the plan going into this would have been that any such change order would have been the full responsibility of the building owner, but simultaneous to all of this, it was discovered that the roof of the building was also no longer viable. And what that meant for the building owner is a bill of about $75,000 unexpectedly to completely replace the flat roof there. So, understanding that this was sort of an unforeseen and unforeseeable situation, and after looking at the urban renewal grant funds for the year, we decided to commit an additional $9,999 toward it in order to keep the project moving forward. The building owner will contribute the remaining $4,500 or $5,000 to get to that $15,000 change order. Fingers crossed, that should be the last surprise we come across, because everything else has been kind of exposed at this point. But it should that should be exciting as it comes together. There's no tenant identified yet there either, but again, we have this list of folks looking for space downtown and don't anticipate an issue leasing up that space. Questions about the Broadway project or anything else urban renewal related?
Katie?
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. I guess my biggest question when it comes to urban renewal related anything is, have we heard from any of the local business owners who are being currently affected by COVID? And are there any sort of plans that we have as an urban renewal agency to provide any sort of assistance to those small business owners?
Yeah, good question. So the main thing that the city has done so far as the city, not so much as the urban renewal agency, but given that the primary core of our business activity downtown in our urban renewal area, the main thing we've done is just tried to be sort of chief communicator. I've been sending out my email blasts to our business community. I have a subscription of about 1,000 recipients. Some of those are local, some of those are partners of ours, all sorts of people get it, but many business owners receive it. and have just been trying to get them the latest information regarding how these programs work. And when I say these, I mean the loan and forgivable loan programs that the United States Congress has approved through the SBA to roll out. Denise and I had talked and thought about exploring the possibility of being able to roll out some sort of other grant program that could offer financial assistance, but I guess I'll spare you the whole conversation, but the long and short of it is that a city as small as ours really does not have the budget capacity to affect livelihood in any meaningful way financially.
Yeah. I appreciate what you guys are doing for the small businesses, and I've been looking at the emails, and I think that you guys are doing a great job in filling that role as key communicators. So thank you for doing all of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're welcome. So we're doing what we can. Other bigger cities have rolled out some programs, but if I'm going to offer my 2 cents, it would be that I'm not sure even bigger cities can move the needle, frankly, for businesses that are. A Hillsborough, for example, has $500,000 allocated to go across their entire business community. And when they opened up for applications, they were oversubscribed in a matter of a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you distribute $500,000 across an entire business community in a city, it gets so watered down
Mm-hmm.
that it just doesn't have the impact. And so Denise and I just felt the best thing we could do is make sure that people have information and access to the federal programs that hopefully can alleviate some of the pain.
Thank you very much for that.
Sure.
Out of curiosity, anything going on with Andale?
I do have active conversation going with the building owner. He is the same building owner that owns that small brick building that Blue Sky Rafting is interested in.
Oh.
So there is a potential business occupant exploring the possibility of moving into the Andale building. It would be another restaurant. But so far it still kind of remains to be seen. But yes, we have open communication with that business as well as the building owner.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Sure thing.
All right. Questions for Matt? Seeing as we have none, we'll move right along. I'm at the next citizen and community group comment. I'm seeing none on the screen that want to speak. Do I have anybody on the screen over there, Sadie? No? Okay. So moving along, we're at the board member comments. So I will start with Luke. Do you have anything to add today?
I got nothing. Thanks, Matt,
Okay.
for your time
Katie?
and being thorough.
Yep. All right, Eric?
Yeah, man, I just wanted to kind of echo what Katie said. I appreciate those emails. I think that, you know, it's nice just to have that encouragement because obviously it's a tough time and hopefully it won't take too long to pass. And I think it's just encouraging to see that there's some help there, even if it isn't from the city, just nice to say, hey, go and get this help. We'll get through it. And hopefully we will be soon. So it was really nice. Like I thought those emails were just really, they were nice to see. And I'm not even a business owner. It was just really nice to see that support was there.
Great.
Okay, and Justin?
Great job, Matt. Jerry, thanks for joining.
Jerry? You're good? He's got no sound yet. And yes, Matt, you did a great job. I want to thank you for that. It's nice to know these places are still interested and that we're still on the map. So we thank you for everything that you do. I appreciate that.
Yes, I mean, I'm hoping that interest is maintained as we navigate through whatever is remaining of this stay home order. So yeah.
Yeah, we're making the best of it. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to adjourn this Urban Renewal Agency since we're through all the business and everything is done at this point. Are there before I do so? No? Okay. The Urban Renewal meeting is adjourned.